ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee in Ghana's Parliament, NDC Member of Parliament for the North Tongue constituency, the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa in Nkomo. V-mate?
Sharp. Obi, I'm our official.
Afi papa nkometri afi sisi na nioma akoyie papa.
Amen.
Se bibi aboko.
Nyame ado.
Eda nyame ase. Confirm ma ko recess. Enra mo ko recess enra.
Na mamema tiefo nyina official pa.
Yes.
Na anka say you call recess enra o share the program for this meeting, Parliament's program. And so, because of how contentious the issues were and how packed the business of the day was, yet tonight is from 11 a.m. and up to about almost 5 a.m. and upper way. And that now you call recess instead of yesterday.
Oh, okay.
We went on recess today. They say we are on break.
Okay. Not just enrano no pe manko timber cra.
There be.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, to me every be a closing ceremony. I mean kind of say this done how much away.
Okay.
By 5 a.m. now we the entire agenda for this meeting.
Yenim say after the budget presentation, no, mobe debate presentation of finance minister, we are now approval sa fiscal policy statement president that is the finance minister managed by more approval and we are then you go into the specific allocations, no, and son after mobile pass appropriations act, no, my ye
yeah, yet into there are 4 stages. What
okay.
Yeah, the revenue measures, the
okay.
revenue bills.
Sure.
And that is one of the 4 items. Into Ubekaya, when the policy statement was approved, and now focus the budget approval process is over. The budget has been approved. Into cathedral. Contingency votes, all those controversial issues, no. The NDC has aligned with the MPP and has approved. I did put out a write-up, and in the write-up, no, I sought to explain the parliamentary budget approval process. Made it told you I have 4 stages. First stage, the policy statement. Into that you have the debate on the principles and then the policy statement is voted upon. After that, you go into the second stage. The estimate. The estimate, really the numbers. Into every allocation, the activity. Into what we do, is to look at the performance. Into the year and the review, Sikana Parliament approved a MAMO in 2022. And when I say a MAMO, I'm referring to the ministries, departments, and agencies and other cost centers. How did you use the money? Have you stayed within appropriation? And has there been some, if you like, expenditure above appropriation? Have you been accountable? And have you met the standards? What the specific approval you receive now? Have you stayed within legal remits? That's what we do. And then we also look at the outlook or plans for the 2023 in this case. That is the ensuing year. Those are the 2 things that we do. Assess our performance to look at the actual expenditure. And then we are also looking at your outlook and projections. What you are requesting money for, what you want to use the money to do. That is what we mean by assessing the estimates and are going through the estimates. And that takes place at the committee levels. Into every cost center, your committee, you will appear, and then to take Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. They appear before my committee, Foreign Affairs Committee, Mayor ranking member of that committee. in the tourism ministry who appeared before the tourism committee, Sana Agric, who appeared before the Agric committee in that manner. After the estimate, then we come to the revenue measures. So every year we are buying explore the revenues, because all these activities, it's a shopping list. How are you going to fund it? And what are the revenue measures? Normally, they will come in the form of a bill. And there will be revenue bills. And this year, over Kaya, we had raised concern about VAT, and we knew that the VAT bill will be brought, and we will oppose it. We had raised concerns about the plans by government to review the e-levy threshold. We had also registered our displeasure. We have said it was an anti-poor policy. We will fight it. Things like that, they come by way of revenue bills. That is the third stage. The final stage, fourth stage, the appropriation bill, which then, when it's approved, becomes an appropriation act. That is the document. Obia to me said, now you can spend. These are your ceilings. It is an itemized summation. If you look at it, they are largely schedules that contain every cost center piano, the allocation of parliament approve the amount. In the appropriation bill, sometimes we will take out some items. Sometimes we will realize that, this allocation endorsement as well. It should be a priority. Parliament in its wisdom, that sector. That is what becomes the final envelope of approved expenditure items. The various ministries, departments, agencies, the various cost centers, the constitutional bodies, the other arms of government, to say the legislature, the judiciary, then they now have the authority to spend in the ensuing year from January 1st. These are the processes. And I can confirm to you, sir, I would say this has been a good season for us in the NDC caucus, because going into this process now, we identify 8 items that we were determined to resist. And thanks to the Almighty and Muamu support, the support of the Ghanaian people, Yatumi has succeeded with 7 of them. And it's only one that we missed narrowly, which is the VAT. Yatu Abano, it was 136 to 135. Because of that Supreme Court decision, a Deputy Speaker presiding can vote, And the Honorable Second Deputy Speaker took advantage of that judgment and also voted. And we will have had 8 out of 8. And
we'll go through them one by one. Okay. And the first one, obviously, on that list would be the National Cathedral allocation, 80 million Ghana cedis. I was going through the various poster there was this one poster, as the government compelled to withdraw and relocate the obnoxious and dubious 80 million Ghana cedis for President Akufo-Addo's cathedral to the roads and communications sectors. Why the compulsion? Initially, they were under sector bay, and why were they compelled to place it under a different sector? And they did also go through an answer and also mushu tune it down.
Yo, medase. Ente Obian himself, the National Cathedral project has been a contentious project. Eddie Kain, as a former vice president of the Scripture Union in Presec, and a practicing Christian, I'm not against building a temple for the Almighty. However, because it is a temple for God, we must approach this project with holiness, with purity, with sincerity. It cannot be a project that is driven by greed, by corruption, by conflict of interest, by dubious intentions. That doesn't glorify God. In Tiana Yamube, we believe we are doing the Lord's work in rising up against this project. And me commended the Christian community, the Christian leadership. Statement the Catholic Bishop Conference or issue here, asking government to come clean. It did really inspire us. Some of us, we were really encouraged. Christian Council also issue statement urging government to be transparent, to come clean, because saying initially say, oh yeah, you see a buying seeker, it is churches' contributions, private donations, and then you do a U-turn, no parliamentary approval. Then when I intercepted the warrant signed by Ken Oforiatta, when he appeared before the vote of censure committee, he said, oh, I'm using contingency vote. Meanwhile, Unim said, this cannot be a contingency project. On one any examples or cite here, when he appeared before the censure committee, he cited Black Stars. Black Stars, no, at the time I would approve a budget, no, who name whether your national team will qualify or not qualify. Or more qualifier, you don't even know where they will reach. Either say second stage, group stage, if they'll go beyond the group stage, quarter-finals, semi-finals, into things like that. Contingency, something unforeseeable, something that suddenly happens, that you could not really predict. But project a year, multiple layers, year after year. Mwaka say it's a 5-year, you want to build in 5 years, you want to finish by 2024. And say every year this is how much you want to spend. It doesn't qualify. Even when you read the Public Financial Management Act, it doesn't qualify under contingency. In China, he then in the 2023 budget decided that this time he won't use contingency, he will do what is right. What we had told him since 2018 to do. He made an allocation of 80 million under the Ministry of Tourism for the cathedral project, because now he's been exposed, he's been caught. It is these things. David Ajay, Onunkwa, 113 million cities just for design, against the Works and Housing Ministry's own standard. I almost said here, say you can't go beyond worst case scenario 12%. He has received in excess of 34%. And when they appeared before us, when him say the 339 million they say they have spent so far, no, they cannot account for 114 million. Secretariat for almost say they received 225. They don't know where the 114 million is. Inti project you say you see Edia Shenyame in Yonyam to attract blessings, no? It's become a conduit to siphon taxpayers' funds and engage in clear corruption, blatant graft. I am very clear in my mind, sir, and most Ghanaians are with us, sir. This cathedral project, is not for the Lord. It doesn't glorify God. It reminds us of the First Chronicles 28:3. David was stopped from building for the Lord because he was not fit. He didn't have a clear heart. He had shed blood, and the Lord stopped him. And what we are doing is consistent with scriptures. Kai said the only time Jesus the Christ took the whip and whipped people, the only time Jesus Christ or Gwa and Crawford was when they were defiling his temple, using his temple for corruption, for bribery, for gambling. He detests that. It's something he abhors. In China, I am really, I'm strong in my conviction. I'm totally convinced that Nyame ena aboyen ama ya succeed. And if you look at right from committee level, how is it? Doesn't it appear to you miraculous? Nyame insa if he had not blessed our crusade, and at the committee level, no, how can minority be succeeding? We won 11-10, and your plenary, so no, some way somehow they couldn't account for all their members, and they had to now concede. And I can confirm to you, sir, the 80 million Ghana cedis, no, it's no longer Ufa Appropriation Act na ya approved. It's not in there. Initially, no, finance minister say or the best see acquire and it's your best check under education and roads and communications, as I put out in my post. But we wanted specifics because we know this minister say he can even divert funds from contingency and use it for this project and engage in the usual dubiousness. Until we insisted on what kind of activity. Until by 2 a.m. no, the minister had just given up and said, "Say, okay, obey Sasikano, the 80 million will not feature at all." Until they say, no, what has been approved by the House is that the appropriation amount, it is minus 80 million. Until 80 million is no longer available for government to spend, not for cathedral, not for roads, not for communication, not for any government activity. Until 80 million, no, yeah, succeeded. Nyamiadom, we have been able to expunge that out of the 2023 Appropriations
Act. Now, see, Abayem was buying a use. What it means, they say National Cathedral, Secretariat, project, they might have to raise or more funding, right?
Yes, exactly. Just or more raise funds from the private sector, now from personal contributions, but there is no money available from them from the taxpayer. And on my way, we have been declared insolvent. All the rankings are about rating agencies from Fitch to Moody's to Standard & Poor's. Almost say we are now junk status. Abayakasa I issue statements say they cannot pay their loans. They can't service the interest on the loans. And we have defaulted for the first time since the 70s. Is this a timer? You should be taking 80 million. Unim said 2023 budget way. Unim said there is no allocation for Agenda 111. There is no allocation for U-Start. Government program Oka said last year, Oka said over the next 5 years, every year be out the 1 billion. They bet to budget Nemo to create jobs for the youth. There is no allocation in the 2023 budget. Abansi is they are hot. There is no money to pay NAPCO, the NAPCO arrears. No allocation in the 2023 budget. And yet you can raise 80 million. I mean, do you think that God will be pleased at this level of, ignoring your children? They are hungry, pensioners, the aged, the vulnerable, that Christ said we should look out for. We ignoring them. They are taking haircuts. They can't have access to their life savings. And then we say, we are allocating 80 million cedis for a national cathedral project. No value for money, no procurement, no feasibility study. And the model that was adopted, Minia, the most reckless model. Menu Kasa say scholarship secretariat demolished, passport office demolished, judges bungalows demolished, judicial training institute demolished, Comsys IT firm demolished, Waterstone Realty apartment complex demolished. Waterstone 4 are in the High Court now demanding a judgment debt of 120 million Ghana cedis. Even if we will build a cathedral, we can be truthful, honest, sincere with God, and then pursue a model that is less costly. Even the rich nations, United States of America, almost Washington National Cathedral, we took them 82 years and they used private funds, not public funds. They didn't demolish structures. Even the richest nations will not adopt this model. I don't know what it is with this government and demolitions. Ubekaya Trade Fair Center, Omuko demolishes, collapse people's businesses. Raymond Achamo say Omu Besi new up to now that we don't have a new trade fair. Meanwhile, people have become jobless, businesses have been destroyed. Okola General Hospital, Omu demolish hospital. Now it wasn't long when John Mohammed's era tore lift Emma that hospital. They said, Omu Besi for then they demolish. They say it is a attempt to demolish the Accra International Conference Center, and we'll be coming to that. What is going on? When others built, at least all your predecessors, President Mahama, President Kufuor, President Mills, President Rawlings, they built Ubehun Hospital, Ubehun Terminal 3, Ubehun Aquine, nice edifices. Their demolitions and Guan. I mean, it's mind-boggling. You just can't believe what is going on.
So, my share the point about Accra International Conference Center. I followed the World Economic Forum meet Nomodeba, Rwanda, and you can begin to imagine the kind of boom that bred the Rwandan economy. In our country, you need a conference facility, a bit me 5,000 at a go. The Accra International Conference Center is just there in name. I mean, the biggest hall, Afabe, 1,500, 2,000. It would deprive you of some of these big international conferences. A day, the hard foreign exchange, we hear about country and all of that. Any decision to want to demolish this and build an ultra-modern, bigger conference center near, I don't know, surely should be something a what long-term benefit might also be our support. Why were you against this proposal?
That's it. And these are the grounds for your objection of the Accra International Conference Center project, the demolition and redevelopment.
94.7.
2019, and Minister for Foreign Affairs, or leading the members of the Foreign Affairs Committee, said BBAC or Conference Center Hall, because we have the oversight, we will have to endorse, bless any allocation to address those concerns. Conference Center is an asset under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Until we did the tour, when we conducted the tour, it was clear, say, we go underground where there are some structural defects, cracks and all of that. And it will appear say even some water was seeping through and all of that. On the face of it, you could see say, since 1991, you see the conference center. As a culture generally, our maintenance has not been very good. The maintenance culture is not very strong, and you could tell say Ejuma wo say. I recall say what some of us requested was that, look, let the engineers, it's good we have gone to see it. Now we see that, okay, there's work to be done. However, the extent of work, we don't have the trained eye for that. We are not engineers. Let's have a structural integrity report. Let independent engineers and independent institutions conduct that structural integrity assessment. Now, among submitting report, now you say the air cost does it need just a renovation? And I say, do we even have to stop using the place? At the time, I was even more worried about safety. What if one day, God forbid, BBC, and there's a disaster? I mean, you can imagine. And if it's an international conference, the bad international press will suffer, and even the life. One life must not be lost in such under no circumstance. We were waiting for that report. Report no Amber. As I speak to you, the structural integrity report, feasibility report, value for money report. No member of the Foreign Affairs Committee has seen that. Then we are told, say, plans are far advanced into next year, 2023. Omoko collapse it, and now they'll raise the building down, they'll demolish it and construct a new one. Now there is a Turkish consortium led by a Ghanaian and that led by a Ghanaian partner, and that the cost will be 160 million euros. Into your mobile year presentation to us at the committee, it will cost us 160 million euros. In today's exchange, that is some 1.3 billion Ghana cedis. Until we raise questions, say, since 2019, we went to look at this property. We've been asking for certain reports, structural integrity report, and buy feasibility study, and buy project. Now, what kind of 2021 budget? They have put there a loan facility. Until they told us they were going to raise a loan. They are saying that it will be a PPP arrangement, inconsistent with what was in their own budget. Things were not adding up. Now, we have not seen any of these reports. There has been no competitive bid, no competitive process. Somebody just shows up, quotes a figure, and you want us to come along. 160 million euros.
94.7.
Understand our objection. Edi Kaino, we are saying, say, we are not convinced from a technical point of view whether the best thing to do is for the entire structure to be demolished. And now I say the building can be salvaged, and then all you need is probably some extensions, some additions, some fortifications, which will be far, far less in terms of cost. So that is the first broad point. Now, the second consideration in our analysis, ASA, even if there has to be this project, there has to be a demolition, there has to be redevelopment. Minya, should we be doing this project at this time? Should we be doing this project at this time? Is this the time to be doing this project? Is this the time? At the time, we have entered junk status. We have defaulted. We can't find money to address basic needs. People are taking haircuts all over the place. Our economy is in shambles. Can this be a priority at this time? Which country? You talk about Rwanda. You can even add Qatar. Look at the praise Qatar is receiving for organizing a successful World Cup. Mm-hmm. Yes, it comes with a lot of. I wish that one day Ghana will have beautiful amenities to be able to host an international, event of that stature. But you do it in good times. Or mind you, look, there are some countries that even win a bid for an international conference, an international tournament. But when they fall into difficult times, they are visionary, sensitive, empathetic leaders who pull out. It's happened many times. Even sometimes last minute, they pull out and say, look, these are not the times. Those are our considerations. And you see, what even makes matters worse, and it's Deputy Minister Honorable Aprechum, when he appeared before us at committee, Okachre and say, earlier this year, they had to renovate the conference center with $3 million. On what he told us, which is on record, and the minutes are available. Our report is there, it's available. I'm not making this up. If this year, we renovate at $3 million so that the center could be used to host the Africa Development Bank annual meetings. Earlier this year, I think sometime in May, the Africa Development Bank they held their annual meetings at the Accra International Conference Center. To prepare the venue to address all those structural issues, $3 million. Are we saying, that $3 million, which has been used, which made the place, good for such a high-profile international conference? I mean, we can't live with that and then defer this to good times. I mean, meanwhile, the foreign ministry's report to the committee. Will you believe, sir, for the first time, we owe our foreign service staff 3 months arrears. Because of the volatility of the currency, the collapsed economy, government is struggling to pay our foreign service staff in embassies across the world. We owe them 3 months' salaries. Meaning, Obi, can you survive? So salary a delay, even 1 month. Without 1 month, can you survive? Meanwhile, these are people living in external jurisdiction. They don't have the kind of support systems we have in Ghana. You have friends, you have schoolmates, you have family members you can rely on. Or Obi so you don't have those social safety nets. Meanwhile, we are saying, even though we owe our foreign service staff 3 months, we can't print enough passport booklets. There's a backlog as we speak. We want to go and spend 1.3 billion Ghana cedis on Accra International Conference Center. It doesn't make sense to me.
And so you oppose that, and as you added to the list, and also more successful. That one has also been taken out from the appropriation as we speak.
Yes, the minister is on record. Yes, during the plenary, it's on record. That project was not, because our report was very clear. The committee cannot approve that project. We haven't seen the feasibility report. We haven't seen, and you can read from pages 16 to 18 of the committee's report. we haven't seen the structural integrity report, and we have also not seen the value for money. We cannot approve that project.
Yeah, but so almost the money in our buyer. Still, the point about timing, you would have raised
timing. Exactly. And also Yabuego, and the plans to also open new embassies. Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica,
and in Mexico, and also Mabuego.
And also Yabuego. I mean, can you imagine? Yes, I know, sir, for the Mexican situation, no, because Mexico for Ababe embassy waha, and normally, no, there's a principle of reciprocity. Obi be embassy wa but you see, Mexico for no, when things were good, they had the economy was doing well. That's when they expanded. And add Ghana to the expansion. Be embassy. They themselves will understand. There is no compulsion. There we are near force. Obi be embassy. Only mine or their economy is doing well. You under no compulsion, and they will even understand. They will bear with you. It is shocking. Meanwhile, no, even the choice of country, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, as ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I will, offer, courtesies and respect to all countries as, diplomatically I am expected to. But every country, in doing this analysis, coming to the stage where you decide which country you want to open an embassy or a diplomatic mission, you do some analysis. You are looking at how many of your nationals are there to extend consular assistance to them. You are also looking at the business interest, the trade interest, what are the trade volumes and all of that. And meanwhile, when I look at the numbers, I'm surprised, honestly. I'm surprised the kind of countries that we are bypassing. We are not prioritizing.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, Sesame, as part of this whole year of return agenda, you would see, sir, our president has recently been on a charm offensive to the Caribbeans, trying to woo some of these African people of African descent. What these countries need to come down, and they responded positively. Also, relations between Jamaica, between Trinidad and Tobago, between all those countries in the Caribbean. Don't you think that this is the time to push our agenda of year of return? You hear presence in these countries.
These days, Nominia, what a number of forward-looking countries are doing, they are not looking at physical diplomatic missions.
Okay.
They are using modern diplomacy where they are deploying emissaries. They are looking at consular officers who are not working in physical structures. So if you take a place like Silicon Valley, some of these Asian tigers, be an embassy or physically, but appointment, contact persons who are just coordinating. They are like, if you like, ambassadors at large, and it's cheaper but also more efficient. Look, if you look at what other African countries are doing in attracting all these Africans in the diaspora, countries like Senegal and all of that, what they are doing is that they are giving them incentives in their home, or mobile lanternia system, or mobile how they will be comfortable, even conferring on them citizenship and all of that. If you look at the gamut of needs, what will attract people to come to Ghana? Embassy, down there. There are so many things that we can do, to really advance. Because that year of return, I support it. I've made a statement in Parliament commending the president. It went very well. It's a good initiative. Look, Kwame Nkrumah was so good at it. He attracted the likes of W.E. Du Bois more. You had
Muhammad Ali, all those guys coming down.
Louis Farrakhan, all those guys. Great, worthy African Africans in the diaspora. And President Rawlings so continued with PANAFEST. It's been work in progress, and President Akufo-Addo must be commended for continuing that philosophy. But it's not about embassies. And then you must also look at timing, Minia. We come back to the issue of
timing.
What kind of budget now? Finance Minister Akase, they are suspending non-essential projects. non-essential projects. During the committee meetings, maybe sir, the reps from the Ministry of Finance, they always send directors to assist the various committees because Parliament insists that is that. So I asked them, these projects now, are they on the list of projects at Muammar green light? And the rep said no, and that they are even waiting for the IMF to vet whether these projects should even feature. So you wonder why it is finding its way even in the budget approval process, and people want to pave way for it to be done in 2023. It's unbelievable, Minia. It cannot be a priority at this time. We need to get our priorities right.
The list no ewa, and because of time intimate, so I would therefore ask a final question on this. Having run through the entire list, in the anti-poor proposal to remove the e-levy threshold, yedi kan asem dada, and you defeated the repugnant tax measure intended to compel drivers, particularly commercial drivers, to produce tax clearance certificate as a requirement for renewing driver's license. And also, and finally, the Emebusa question, the 27.5 million Ghana cedis allocation to the Special Development Initiative Secretariat and the Monitoring and Evaluation Secretariat, both at the Office of the President. You think this secretariat, and yet necessary for us to allocate this amount to virtually, you want to collapse these secretariats?
Definitely. You collapse it. And I must commend your colleagues are almost serving on the finance committee, the recommendations and all of us. I even spoke that day, last night, and we endorsed it and approved it. And those secretariats have virtually been collapsed. Minia, when the president announced dissolving the Special Development Initiatives Ministry, then I commended the president. We thought that he had reduced the size of government and he was genuinely cutting costs. Now you name say Sana Okwako created a secretariat at the presidency called Special Development Initiative Secretariat. Now, if you read submissions on mobile finance committee about job description, the and at the person 2023, meaning you will laugh and probably collapse. And though you will laugh, it's really a tragedy. It's not a laughing matter. Will you believe, sir, even though this country has a national ambulance service, SDI Secretariat, almost ASA, they will be coordinating the ambulances, whatever that means. Can you imagine? Coordinating ambulances, because ambulances not. So, meanwhile, we have a national ambulance service. Clear job for the boys. Then they said, sir, Omobeto incubators in 2023, until they'll go around to distribute the incubators to the hospitals across the country. Can you believe that? Where is the Ministry of Health? Where is the Ghana Health Service? Every district in this country has a health directorate. I have been distributing incubators. I don't need anybody from the presidency to help me to do that. It's just clear job for the boys. And then they say they will be coordinating meetings of the development authorities. That other needless development authorities are nebulous, amorphous, wasteful development authorities or more creative who are doing projects that the district assemblies can do. They say they will be coordinating meetings. And this is why we must spend 27.5 million Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, in 2021 Auditor General's report, earlier in the year, I put out revelations from the Auditor General's report say compensation budget has gone up from less than $1 million to in excess of 356 million. Why do we need an SDI secretariat? To do what? And look at their job description. Distribution incubators to hospitals. Unbelievable, incredible, Minia.
Yeah.
Then,
but the other thing, even before you come to monitoring and evaluation on SDID and Special Development Initiatives, we know, sir, the development authorities, time and a ministry, they were under the ministry. Yep. Now it's a secretariat at the presidency. and I have been informed say the 27.5 million budget was really to the development authorities. Did that come to your attention? Na munyi ni say mo mabo guna by extension mabo special development secretariat nego no. It will rather affect the development authority or more juma or more air,
We don't need that special development initiative secretary. We don't need it. And authorities, they can work on their own. They don't need to be under anybody.
But see, I don't say Omun receive any allocation. Mabo 27 million no. What money will go to the authorities?
They have money for their project. They told us they have rolled out so many projects into 2023. They don't intend to start new projects. They will just focus on completing existing projects. That's what they should go and focus on, as they themselves told us.
But goods and services and salaries near no allocation man never call.
Oh, salary that has been done already. I know it's under OSHA Appendix 7 normally of the budget. You have the compensation over there for the various cost centers. They are all under
that is taken care of.
Is taken care of.
And the Office of Government Machinery?
Office of Government Machinery, yes. And that is taken care of. But really, our view is that and that is what Parliament has approved, said that those two secretariats should be collapsed.
Okay.
They are not serving any useful purpose. It's just waste of taxpayer funds.
Very well, Sammy. I would want to thank you. I think and we've been able to cover almost all the Nyoma Mwetimi Abo Eguno. That's it for always being on hand to speak to us. We hope the new year we can collaborate more and do more for our dear country. That's the power. Why?
Absolutely, for God and country.
That's it. I'm sure. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, NDC MP for the North Tongue constituency, ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee in Ghana.